And now, finally, we've arrived at the main reason that you're here, our guest speaker. You've read all the emails. You probably know her from social media. She's a Santa Fe native, a city councilor, and a mariachi, among many other things. So please give a very spicy welcome to my wonderful new friend, Alma Castro.
En Oaxaca se toma mezcal con café. En Oaxaca se toma mezcal con café. Dicen que la hierba te cura la mala fe. Dicen que la hierba te cura la mala fe. A mí me gusta el mole, en soledad me va a moler. A mí me gusta el mole, en soledad me va a moler. Muchas gracias. Good morning to everyone, and thank you for our community through the talented hands and voices of Los Chaveses. My name is Alma Castro, and I want to thank you and everyone for having us here to talk about spicy and picoso, something that truly simmers at the heart of all New Mexicans, and that's our chili. Pueblo people have been cultivating chilies for thousands of years. And then the Spanish arrived and they infused their own culinary traditions with our local flavors to create the foundation of what is a mixed heritage. For the next 500 years, we cultivated that heritage. Its influence stretches beyond the dinner plate, and our communities are proudly alive and resisting and creating new things that we can only imagine in our dreams, like, what is life without a little spice? The variety of chiles that we have in our community is like the variety of people that I see in this room today. We all come in different shapes and sizes, and as you can see on the wall, we come in different types of heat, right? I am also proud to say that as a Salvadoreña, I am not that good with spicy food. Out of the closet. But it is interesting to see how proudly we show our community through our art, through beautiful listras that we hang outside dried chili strings. For some of us who don't know what a listra is, that you see hanging outside of our businesses and our homes. It is a symbol of our community and a symbol of our unity. We are not just one Chile, we are a listra. Our community is tied together by what has really made us not only strong and resilient, but also a little bit spicy. When you think of spice, it's a combination of pleasure and pain. a few people can really put their finger on, almost as fleeting as the sorrow of the elders who no longer recognize the community around them. What is life without a little spice? In 2019, I came home to take over Café Castro. This is a little taste of what our food looks like. It's been a Santa Fe staple since 1990. It's the dream realized by my parents, Julia and Carlos Castro. I apologize, I'm getting a little teared up because I am so proud of the legacy that I'm a part of. After years of working in Santa Fe's restaurant scene, they started the first venture by taking over a well-known El Comal, which I think some of you know, in a little strip mall on Cerrillos Road. It still exists. And following that success, Café Castro was born, offering a taste of traditional northern New Mexican cuisine to working class families from around the city and around the region. With the help of my dad's family members and my mom's as well, we were able to continue a family-run institution that is now a tradition that we continue here in Santa Fe, serving up generations of old recipes and remaining the beloved local favorite with a little twist. I now have come to Santa Fe to talk about the importance of ownership and leadership. I wasn't quite as ready to take on the position as I think I am now. I am now 3 months into being a city councilor of the city of Santa Fe. And that just means that leadership looks a little bit different. Even at Castros, I am working to create a worker-owned model so that everyone who works there is the beneficiaries of all the work that we do. One of my favorite things to do at Cafe Castro when I have the opportunity to be there is talk to people about our food. In particular, we have a lot of folks that are coming, like Tracy, to learn about our culture and learn about who we are. And unfortunately, in Texas, they have given it a little bit of a different name. So chili has beans and meat and all kinds of fun stuff in it. Chile is a vegetable that we grow here. I'm giving you my speech. It's lighter, brighter. Red chili is deeper and richer, and you get a choice to sort of make your own understanding of what your meal is going to be. Remember that pleasure and pain. Some chile is a little bit hot. Now, I am a mid to mild, but if you want to go do 5-alarm chili, I know a few places that have that. The spices that make up Alma are a spectrum that paints a rather unclear picture. There's 2 symbols up here that signify me in a way that is really important. As well as Nuevo Mexicana, I am a Centroamericana. My father is from El Salvador, fleeing a very difficult civil war in the 80s that some of you might remember or heard about. We called it the Vietnam of America. These tenets that I see, home, family, music, food, community, and ultimately humility, are the things that make Santa Fe and our community so amazing. A home for some, as fleeting as the memories of tamales for Christmas, waiting to see when mom would start baking the bizcochitos, anise and cinnamon in the air. For others, like myself, we have a safe and plentiful home. I remember my childhood home. And so many times when we came together as a family, my arms can't stretch far enough to hold you now. But Frito pies take me back to the days of quinceañeras at the College of Santa Fe and fiestas on the plaza. Talk about spicy. If you haven't heard, we colonized ourselves and we have a party about it every year. Then came the days of cruising in this very downtown with my music way too loud. I apologize. Pero ese chile is too spicy. That chili's too hot. We had to put a little sound ordinance through to make it palatable. Like we did with our food. Our food that is an expression of our resilience and our deep roots. Our 3 sisters, beans, squash, and corn, gave way to quelite and chícharos and chile. Our spices are salt of the earth and sacred smoke. We cook for community. Matanzas, feast days all alike. We know how to feed each other. And finally, humility. Today, I hold the recipes of my father in highest regard, and the recipes that he learned from our community. So that's me in the middle with my grandparents. They were dancers, they were musicians, they were poets, they were teachers. They helped build this community. They hailed from Agua Fria village and from Laney. And they helped me learn that I don't have to be just one thing, that I can be a beautiful myriad of colors, a rainbow of whatever came to mind that day, including my gender spiciness. And today, I try to hold that in honor and understanding that I stand on the shoulders of giants, including some of the people that are in this room today. Our local veggie is a unique blend of heat and earthiness and sweetness that takes you back to Abuelita's kitchen. Its importance goes far beyond the taste buds. Chile is woven into the very fabric of New Mexican cuisine and culture. Our signature dishes, enchiladas, burritos, carne adobada, all flowing with the sweet melody of Chile. I grew up in Santa Fe in the early 90s. Mine was a playground steeped in history and sunshine. Weekends we spent exploring the winding streets of the plaza or my parents' restaurant across from City Hall. I don't know if anyone remembers that one. A mix of tourists, snapping photos, and workers, all over with chili stains on their shirts, just walking around trying to get to work. The air hangs heavy with sorrow on occasion, but I love the days of playing in the arroyos and remembering when my mom said, "Watch out for La Llorona." Todos me dicen el negro llorona, negro pero cariñoso. Todos me dicen el negro llorona, negro pero cariñoso. Yo soy como el chile verde, llorona, picante pero sabroso. Yo soy como el chile verde, llorona, picante pero sabroso. Ay de mi llorona, 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 llévame al río. Ay de mi llorona, 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 llévame al río. Tápame con tu rebozo, llorona, que ya me muero de frío. Tápame con tu rebozo, llorona, que ya me muero de frío. I want us to remember all of the people that made today possible, that with their beautiful words and history honored us with their seeds, their food, their love. Thank you so much.
Tell us who La Llorona is.
Yes, so that was something I sort of cut out because I wasn't sure if we had time. But the legend of La Llorona is something that I've learned throughout different Central American traditions. There's actually La Cigüeña in El Salvador, but a very similar story of a woman who was slighted by life in different versions of the story. A lot of it has to do with our responsibility in taking care of children. Generally, you hear that her husband left her for a younger woman, and she had children to take care of, and in her despair, drowned them in the river. In some stories, she tries to drown herself as well and is unsuccessful. And so her spirit wanders the arroyos looking for her children. And so you have to be very careful. If you are wandering in arroyos, she might mistake you for one of her children. You know, I am lucky enough to not have found out. I think. Thank you for that question. No, La Llorona is. I think there's a movie that they just made about her, but I haven't watched it. I don't know how accurate it is. Questions, comments, concerns?
Do you sing with a mariachi group, or is this something you do yourself?
So mariachi has been a journey for me. Music has been a journey. As I mentioned, my grandfather started a play, wrote a play when he was young, or wrote the script to Los Pastores, which my mom's all about. He directed a group of actors, which generally were many of my family members, and it's sort of a musical. So it's a story of the ¿cómo se llaman? Pastores? Shepherds that are going to see the baby Jesus and following the star. And so there's music all involved in the story. That was my very first opportunity to hear them. In that photo I showed, they're actually part of a dance group called Los Coloniales. I don't know if you guys have seen them, and they do traditional, like, colonial dances at a lot of events. They tend to be sort of older folks, and they, anyway. And so I got to learn some music there. I used to be part of a choir at Santa Maria de la Paz. And so I would get up every morning and learn hymns. And Ernie Gonzalez, I don't know if anybody knows Ernie Gonzalez. He was the principal at Connie Elementary. We no longer have Connie Elementary. He actually taught myself and Freddie. He taught most of the young musicians in this city and started a wave of mariachi throughout elementary schools. My mom also started one at Chaparral Elementary School so that I wouldn't have to go to Connie during my lunch breaks anymore. And that was the beginning of what was the Mozart Mariachi program, and now at the Youth Symphony, they have a full-on mariachi program. I was most recently in Chicago in Little Village teaching mariachi to some amazing young people who are traditionally recent immigrants from central Mexico, and so probably are way more in tune with the culture than I am. I'm humbled by how amazing some of those families are. But yeah, so short answer is I don't play right now. I'm sitting in with Dos Chavez on Tuesdays, every other Tuesday at Castro's on occasion, mostly to prepare for this. It's hard for me to commit to a band right now. I'm a little bit busy.
So this might be a trick. You're pointing at me?
Right behind you.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Good morning, all.
Hello, good morning.
3 months in, tell us what is most challenging or spicy, and what is most pleasurable and lovely to the palate.
Thank you. And as far as the counselor.
Yes.
So I do want to shout out the Arts and Culture Department of the City of Santa Fe. Thank you so much for being here. I came home to take over the restaurant and look at this cooperative model and wanted to give back to my community. And so I decided to be on the Arts Commission, which is where I met Alex Hanna, who was the chair before I was. Thank you so much, Alex, for also making this possible. I wanted to be a voice for this kind of stuff, right? For food, for culture, for music in Santa Fe. And then I realized there was a few other things that we needed to work on as well. And so I get teared up when I talk about a lot of these things, because when I think about La Llorona and being cold and asking for cover in that song, I think about all of the folks who can't afford to live in Santa Fe anymore and who are unhoused, and we don't know how to service. I have a restaurant that is right next door to Peace Place, which is one of the only congregate shelters in the city, and I see the ravages of addiction every single day. And when I hear people say, these are not people from my community, I remind them that one of the people I went to elementary school with, Odie back there, that I see people who I've known my entire life who are not doing so well. And it's not a foreign problem. This is our community, and it's our job to help take care of folks. And I don't know that we're moving in that direction, or it's complicated, because there are so many different people in our community, like there are so many different chiles, that sometimes that mole is indistinguishable from the individuals, right? We sort of get lost in the shuffle. And that, I would say, is the most difficult thing, is to look through the minutia, to not get caught up in the fray, and really just do the work. Question, yeah, go ahead. Oh, that was there was another hand somewhere. Ready?
So I read your bio a little bit about AmeriCorps. You served in the AmeriCorps as AmeriCorps Vista in prep, or is it just AmeriCorps?
Just AmeriCorps, yeah.
Okay, so how has that impacted you later on down the road in your career? Because I've also been a part of AmeriCorps, so I'm just curious to see how you use that experience later on in life.
So one thing I didn't talk about and is a huge part of one of the spices that I am is my organizing. I've been a labor organizer, and through AmeriCorps Vista, I was able to understand a little bit about the lack of organization in the city of Santa Fe around labor rights. And I say that with a pause because there is hope and we are working, but we are not hugely dense in terms of population. And so for unions, that's a big deal. You need numbers. I was working with squeaky clean workers and China Star workers when I was organizing here in Santa Fe against wage theft. Wage theft still happens. Minimum wage is something that we are a leader in and have been a leader in, but enforcement is difficult. And being a restaurant owner now, I understand even more the complexities of running a business and being able to be a good employer, which is why I don't want to be an employer anymore. I want to be part of a collective ownership model because what I decide shouldn't be what dictates the lives of 25 families. So that is the experience that I took from being an organizer here in my hometown. And then I did go to Chicago and learned a little bit more about the gig economy. I was working with temp workers in Chicago and also Amazon workers. Little plug, if you can buy stuff from anywhere but Amazon, that'd be amazing. We do plastic mold injection in this country that is primarily done by immigrant workers. All of the styrofoam cups that we use are mostly made in Chicago through Pactiv. Super toxic. Mostly done by either Black and brown workers or folks who have been incarcerated, folks who are undocumented, really horrible conditions. So I encourage us to think about the workforce in the city. As we come on May 1st, International Workers' Day, I would like us to celebrate Santa Fe workers.
Yes. Yeah.
Thanks, Alma. I'm just always in awe of...
Thank you, Renee. Former city councilor, Renee Villarreal.
And thankfully, Alma took my seat. I was just curious what you would say to newcomers to Santa Fe, and how would you say it? Well, how to get involved and also realize that there's a lot of people here. People want to get to know each other, which is a good spot, but this is not a reflection of Santa Fe. So how would you encourage people or suggest people get, as they're trying to get integrated into the community, what are your suggestions on how to do so and the approach to that?
I would say listen and eat. One of my staples.
At hospitals.
I love to take food to meetings because we are at our worst when we are hangry. And when we break bread together, somehow that humanity of all of us having to eat just reminds you that nobody's better than anyone else. So sitting at a table and enjoying our food, which is very simple. We have our vegetables that we can grow here. We don't need to make it flowery. We fed ourselves for 500, if not for thousands of years. We can survive on food and on listening to each other. I don't say the Pledge of Allegiance. I think it's very strange to pledge my allegiance to a flag and not a community. My community is these people and the people who didn't know about today, who don't feel comfortable downtown, who don't feel comfortable at the Vladam, but we are occupying this space. We are here today. I am here today. We are here today. And this is the beginning of why Creative Mornings is important to me, and why being a counselor is important to me, and why we had a presentation on Wednesday from Somos un Pueblo Unido at Quality of Life. And most of the people in the room spoke Spanish, and yet the interpretation was from English to Spanish. That felt wrong to me. From now on, I want to be the advocate for saying if most people in the room speak one language, we're the ones who are at a loss, and we need to be interpreted for, not the other way around. Those are the small changes that I need to do to be a welcoming person, because we have all kinds of folks visiting our community from all kinds of walks of life. So I guess the answer is it's my job to welcome folks as opposed to them looking to be included. And listen.